All right, hello everyone. So today is the 17th of July. I got gold in front of me. So gold, let's just do this. I actually just entered the trade just before I started doing the video. Actually, I'm a little late. I should have entered there, but still is okay because the next Astro hours should be down here and we should come down at least here, which should allow me to cover the stop loss of the trade. And we should come down to the weekly pivot. Why? Because if you take a look at your daily, this was a sell zone. Remember, I said this should probably be a target for us with gold. And remember, we had the lows with gold there last week, the week before, there. Remember, we had the Saturn Mercury line there, trend line, and it pretty much squared out with Saturn Mercury and came in nice and easy. Okay, so now we went up in there. So we want this to continue to go up because this is breaking off, let's say. As you can see, the structure just broke off. Okay, so a bit of a pullback into the PST on here is going to be 53. That is going to bring you back to 1942, which, if you take a look at your 5-minute chart, is the weekly pivot there. So on the weekly is a new week, a bit of a pullback, even to the high of that is kind of in order, and that's 16. What? Bear with me for a second. Can't be that. That's going to be 1935. Okay. So at the end of the day, on the weekly pivot, we're buyers. Okay. Just be mindful, we could sizzle down to 1935, and that's also okay. Okay. 1935. But we want to be buyers, as you can see. All right. So the weekly pivot is good. That is good. Let's turn this into a 15-minute chart and take it from there. All right. If you're using your financial astrological hours, the yellow ones are gold specific, which I'm going to put in the members areas. I'm also going to put the swing days as well in there. Okay. So be mindful with that too. Okay. The swing day, you can just trade on the swing days as well if you want. Okay. And, just take it from there. So if the market sizzles down into tomorrow, we should be looking to get in from those low levels. All right. That's that. If we go up, okay, then we're going to look for the selling option. All right. And that's how it is. Let's take a look at SP 500. Now with the SP 500, let's take a look at the weekly here. Okay, remember we drew these zones before. It just tapped in last week, so we're right on the support there. Resistance on the weekly is 72, which is 4,568. So I'm going to put that 4,568 there to the top. 4,000. Let's just push this down a little bit. 4,568. It is a bit far out, as you can see. Now, if it doesn't go down, if it doesn't go up and break above the high of last week, we could still be, we could start to turn off, because remember last week, Thursday was a swing day for this. The market sold off nicely in the evening. This was Astro hours for us. Market came back, took out a lot of stops, also touched that weekly level there. So if it goes back up, we want to be selling off. This zone, 4,496. Remember, 4,496 was done ages ago, right? It was done there on Thursday. Okay, so that's that. So we're going to have to see, but we should endeavor and look for sells from there. Now here on the daily, this is your LCL1 line, 4,515. So if you want to sell, the first spot is going to be 4,515, which is in there. which is nice because that's right our block there. Okay, so 4,515, somewhere along there, right in there. Okay, so selling off here in this pink zone, not a bad idea at Astro hours. Could probably do that. We've got zone here as well. Yellow ones are Astro hours for SP 500 specifically. Okay, and that's that. All right. So if we come down, okay, if we come down, as you can see, the market's in an uptrend. Okay, buyers will be coming in, but on the daily, we should expect to come and buy at 4,470 or 69, as it says here, for that, which is right again your weekly pivot there. All right, so we want to be buying down here. So the market's got a lot of potential to come down, and this is an Astro hour right here. Okay, so if this breaks down, this will be a break zone. The pull up should push us to sell as well. So if the market goes up, we should sell as well. This is a bit of a sandwich zone, as you can see, but what can you do? This is your Astro hour here. We've got some Action Jackson hours coming in until 10 o'clock. All right. And once it goes in that direction, I don't expect the moves to change for SP 500 until at least 12:42 lunch time. Okay, so once we pick up the move, it should go until 12:42. Like I said, the weekly period is a target. That's the zone we want to go in on the daily because it's a good buy kiss on the PST. On the weekly, 68, if it breaks down 4493, goes below 4493. I've got 62 down there as a target, which is 4,421. 4,421 is way, way down there. Okay, so, oops. As you can see, so we could actually be heading further down if we break that 4,421. But the market should, let's get rid of that. Market should go up before it sells off if it's going to break that level. Okay, so on the monthly as well, as you can see, we're pretty high on those zones there. So selling from this zone is not a bad idea. Looking to sell back down. Okay, it looks pretty good for us to do so. All right, and buying would be at the lows there. So coming back down into these levels where the market broke down to go back up is the way to go. So mark your weekly in that 4,421, but this weekly is looking good. Okay, and this, as you can see, is a bit of a sandwich zone, but this should, it should break down to test the lows of last week. Okay. Let's take a look at the euro dollar. Let's start with the weekly. Now that week was, as you can see, big push up. We said we'd probably get up into that zone, okay? And the market came into that white line there on the PST, okay? This is an indecision bar. This is, as you can see, a big candle. If I get rid of this, because this is over now, this zone is over. Let's get rid of these. You're going to have to see what to do on the euro dollar. Let's get rid of all of this. Now let's take that analysis. This is an indecision bar there. So this might have a bit more room to go up. Let's see what that 8 LCL one, 1350. On the weekly, we've got 1350 zone there. On the daily, On the daily, we're in that zone as well. There are a few zones here. Okay, so we've got this as well, if you think about it. Okay. But looks like we're just in that range there. You see the last manipulation before the crash down. Taking out the stops here. So this is a good zone to sell off. Plus that's a good zone to sell off. The high of this zone, I'm just checking if there is a gap or whatever, not particularly. Okay, so it's either going to be this blue gap or that blue gap. Okay, and so maybe 1350 up here or in this zone here, 1289. Let's see, 1289. I can put that on the radar as well. Obviously, no use in buying unless we come down a little bit. Let's turn this into a 15-minute chart. On the 15-minute chart, here we are. So on the daily euro dollar, you got to look at your swing days. Coincidentally, euro dollar has a swing day today. This should pull back. We need to come back into this zone here at least. So this should kind of like pull back into this bar. All right. There. Which is fine. Okay. Now, sometimes the market rushes up like this only to get sold. All right. So, that's just how it is. All right. So, as you can see here, right, a big push up and then sell off. You see how big push up there? Big push up and then a sell off. Big push and then sell off coming in. So, the market wants to go somewhere where they want to sell off again. All right. So, don't be too scared. At the end of the day, these zones are where they're going to sell off. Now, use obviously your financial astrology hours for that. And that's basically it. With the euro dollar, you can either sell also from the highs of last week or slightly higher if they take out the stops at even highs. For example, if it goes slightly higher around here, and then they might want to push down, or you need to wait for a change in structure, okay, like a break in structure, change of character or whatever, something of a breakout to the other side, so you can trade the retracement on the astro hour on the smaller time frame. Otherwise, it's a bit tricky because it's just going up. But this zone is a sell zone for us. Monday's a swing day for this. Selling is not a bad option at all. Let's take a look at Dow Jones, NASDAQ, Bitcoin. All right, so let's get into Dow Jones. Now, this is the weekly on the Dow Jones. Okay, so here we are. Let's just do this. We're right on top of there. So this is a bit tricky, guys. Okay, why? Because at the end of the day, we could break out. Okay, this is the weekly chart. And here, if I just make this a little bigger, okay, as you can see, that's the breakout there. So the market dipping down and then going up here, okay, and then disappointing everyone and coming down is, doable. And that's going to be 35, 357 at least. Or at least, because that's your 63 and your 65 is 35,670 up there. So this is a bit tricky. Okay, now as you can see right now the PST is on 57.59, okay, which is right on there. Okay, 57.55. The highest it did here, as you can see, is 57.87. Okay, so it's not too far out from that resistance weekly line. So the market closed higher last week than previous, as you can see. So it's a bit tricky here. Okay, so the market coming down to go up might be the way to go. Let's take a look at the daily. Okay, obviously we're not biased here, that's for sure. On the daily, we've got a break here. The market can go all the way into your LCL1, which is 35.26. So let's put that 35,026, which is actually quite a bit far out. Okay, 35.26. And we'll think about the rest of the levels if we get there. Okay, but this will be an initial target if the market breaks above the high, 35,026. Now look, if I squeeze, let's turn this into an hours chart. All right, here we are. Now the swing day for Dow Jones is yet to come. So the market can push down a little bit. As you can see, it took the stops out of the high of Thursday. That's your Friday. Coming down. So we should dip down into lower zones. Okay, how far is low? Let's take a look at the daily. So if this is going to be a sell zone, crikey, how far to come down? On the weekly, on the monthly. Well, the monthly's still got room to go. Let's just make this a little bigger. A bit tricky. What you might want to do with this as well, if you're going to trade the Dow Jones, you might want to wait for the weekly levels. Okay, this is obviously a good resistance zone. So the first level, it's going to be down here where they picked up on Friday, but everybody's stop loss is going to be around here. Okay, so this will probably get swept out. Okay, and coming into the weekly where the market started that big push up to go above that is going to be here. So the market's got room to come down. So what to do with this? Well, until the swing days for this, or tomorrow or Wednesday, because you got SP 500, NASDAQ, and so on, okay, you could sizzle down. Now, coincidentally, let's take a look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ swing days today. So on the weekly, let's take a look at the weekly. Okay, this zone we talked about before, indecision, and that gap we talked about before. 80 is a bit out there, 16,021. Let's take a look at the daily. 79, 15,756. 15,756. This is a good place to sell off. Okay, let's just leave it at that. This is a good place to be selling off. Okay, so if the market comes up today with NASDAQ, we want to be sellers. All right, given that NASDAQ is a swing day today. All right, the other swing days you'll find in the members area. Do that too. Okay. If the market comes down first, you'll want to look to go long. Let's turn this into an hours chart. And then from the hourly chart, let's see what we can do. Let's get rid of this as well. Here we are. Okay, let's get rid of this. So this is a good impulse wave, as you can see. And the market broke off that swing there. So we've got a change of character there. Took out the stop losses. If we come back up to refill or go slightly higher to take out the stops of last week and close lower than the high of last week on that bar, then selling off is going to be an option for us. Okay. Otherwise, you want to look for, if it goes down, then you've got to look for buying opportunity. Okay, so if we go up first, we're sellers. If we go down first, we're buyers. And we should come down into those astro hours or up into those astro hours before the market swings. Now, if in the astro hours you're in the New York session and we're up there somewhere, because we're going to have a bit of a we're going to have a disruptive move coming in towards the closing of New York. So if we're up here on swing hours, the market could either sell off down with a disruptive move, okay, or break out to go higher, okay. So in any case, you got to be careful in New York when you're trading indices, as usual, because there is going to be a bit of a violent move happening. Like, it's going to disrupt and take people by surprise. So don't get surprised out, okay. That goes for all indices. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, I said selling the highs, buying the lows is an option. This looks like a good support on the daily. That's your 48, 30,108. Plus you got the HCL 129,910. Okay, so 29,910 plus there. This looks like a good support here for the market. Can push up. As you can see, these are the lows as well. Look out for sweeps. Let's take a look at the weekly. Now on the weeklies, you can see the market could be breaking out from here. If it breaks out, I wouldn't stand in front of it, because then this is obviously going to keep pushing upwards. Okay, so once it breaks out above, got 63 there, 30,524, then this baby can go up. 30,524 is up there. So if the market, let's say if the market broke above that, okay, 30,500. If it goes above the weekly, breaks above that, okay, coming down to go up is an option. This zone is not a bad buying location. As you can see, this is like accumulation happening here. All right. So where you want to buy around here, the market is already, I think, that 30,000 zone. Like I said, 30,108, 29,910, 30,110, let's say, around there. Okay. 29,910, around there. Okay. But this is looking like, logical. Okay. There's a big dip down, so buying here to push up is not a bad idea, and I like this here. If it doesn't break the weekly, right, if it does not go above this and break above it, 30,524, and fails, okay, then we'll have room to come down. And that's basically it. On the daily, we've got room to close gaps here, but as you can see, it's closed most of the gaps on the weekly here. Okay, so the market's okay with this setup, looks like. So on pullbacks, I still say you can go long. There's an opportunity to go long here at these supports where you can use tight stop losses. So if your stop losses are tight with Astro hours, you can buy the lows in order to push up. And you need to be careful around these levels, 30,535, I think it was. So if it breaks above and closes above, then you got room to go up. Any pullback is a fair game to go long. Okay. Until then, this and this is going to be, let's get rid of this. This zone is going to be your support. If it breaks below these, then that impulse wave is going to continue to push down. Okay. But more often than not, what happens is they do a good push down and everybody gets scared, and then they buy it and push it further up. So anything can happen, but this is a good accumulation zone here. So buying the lows at Astro hours is possible to go up.